Right. Welcome everyone to our next installment of the RSO Advisor Training. Today we're going to be talking about something that has kind of been an ongoing theme with some of our student organizations in trying to establish that student ownership, getting them excited, and kind of reminding people of why they're doing what they're doing with their groups. So to start off, I think it's always appropriate to start with some introductions. So my name is Caitlin Nally. I'm the Assistant Director of Student Activities. I work directly with our student organizations, kind of across a multitude of different areas. And I'm joined here today with
Hi, everybody. My name is Deja Robinson, and I'm Assistant Director of the Office of Identity and Inclusion. My main focus is to really look at the co-curricular experience for our underrepresented population and really just focus on all things DEI on campus as well.
is actually the perfect person to be joining us for this conversation because last year she actually won RSO Advisor of the Year. So
Woo! So to get started, we're really going to focus on the why. Establishing your why is more so looking at yourself as an advisor. Why do you believe in this group? Why did you want to be the advisor? What are your personal connections to this group? And what are some goals you have for this group? So when I think about my own personal experience, when I worked in the Student Activity Center, I was an advisor for the SGA VP of Finance, and that was a part of my position. So being honest, I came into the position willing and ready to learn about finances and what this position looked like. Whereas my position now, a lot of the RSOs I work with are identity-based RSOs, and I chose these groups because they were very different from my personal identity, and I wanted to make sure that they felt supported and they had a space. And so I asked you to take it upon yourself to take time to ask yourself these questions, define your why and your purpose and connection to your organization.
next thing that we want our hope for advisors to do is to sit there and take some time to learn more about the organization that you're working with. So kind of diagnose the current situation, maybe what it used to look like. So doing some deep digging into what did the organization used to look like? When was it started? How long has it been around? What are some events that maybe used to happen that haven't happened in a while? So let's say that an organization does a really successful bake sale in the spring semester, but due to COVID, maybe that hasn't happened in a while. Is that something that we could bring back? Is that something that would be beneficial to bring back whatever signature events or opportunities that used to previously exist? I think it's also important to recognize maybe the impact that the coronavirus and the pandemic had on the organization. So we know that our student leaders have obviously been going through it, but maybe let's say that all of your organization leaders were seniors that just graduated. That's a reoccurring thing that needs to be addressed. And so how can we be empowering our first year students and our sophomore students to take on those leadership roles? So what was the impact on the culture of the organization? And kind of how has that shifted the culture and the spirit of the group? Learning an estimate at least of how many active members you have in your group. So that's something especially important to notice. Our office and you should as well have access to Engage to be able to pull the roster of your organization at any time, but you could have 50 people listed on the roster and about 20 active members. So just going ahead and having a conversation with your student leaders to be able to know at any given moment an estimate of how many members you actually have that are interacting within the group. Um, do a little pulse check as far as the fall semester. What events have been happening? How often have your groups been meeting? Are you going to the student meetings? Are they having any events? Or is there maybe some opportunities for collaboration with other campus departments? Say that it's an academic-based group. Is that an opportunity to work with the academic department that they're directly related to? And then lastly, taking some time to figure out maybe what are some of the growing pains that the group is facing. Um, so again, is there a lack of leadership? Is there a lack of funding? Is there kind of just a lack of, we don't know what we're supposed to be doing right now? It's important to be aware of kind of where you're currently at to be able to plan for the future semester in years to come.
And then next we'll look at the who. Really looking at really being aware of the job description. Be aware of the job descriptions of each role. So just recently, I was able to meet with the e-board of our Bellarmine Multiracial Society. They're a new organization, only a year old, and they're really looking at what is the role of the president, vice president, and really defining those different roles within their executive board. That can look very different. So my role as an advisor is not to tell them what their job should be, but instead I sent them resources from other institutions and what those roles entailed. And so from there, they're able to kind of make those choices to navigate, because the more they know who they are in their roles of themselves, but also what they should be doing, the more productive they will be. Also, it's important to know the students you are working with. So of course you could be working with students with different identities, whether that is different racial identities, different spiritual beliefs. And we just want to make sure that they're feeling included and really know themselves and what they're bringing to their group, and understanding the barriers that they might be experiencing within those identities, and how they're constantly not only navigating school as a student, but also a leader in your organization. Also, just knowing what type of leader are they? Are they a natural born leader? They're very organized, or maybe there's one that has a lot of potential, but they might need just a little bit more attention. And then will you help just leveraging their positions and really encouraging them to see what are those areas of growth and strengths that they have, so that they can continue to grow. And then what is the students' why? What do they want to see from their group? So we focused on your why as a leader, as an advisor, more so, but you want them to see as a leader within that group, what is their why? The more that they can be encouraged and see and be inspired in their group, the more they will not only be successful with the group, but also know how to bring people in and encourage them, to get them excited about what they'll be doing, potentially even looking for the next leader in their group. When that's how a group continues to go on, as they continue to have people that want to invest in that group.
Next up is going to be the how. So we know we want our student organizations to succeed, but how do we get them to? How do we get our student leaders to lead truthfully? And what does that kind of look like? So as advisors, I think there's a different levels of involvement that we can expect for different organizations. So you know your group, or at least that's the hope, that you know your group and what level of support they need. So if it's a group that meets twice a semester, maybe that's not something that you need to be meeting with the student leaders on a weekly basis, but whatever it might be, those students, they need you. You are an incredible asset to them. You're a huge resource, whether you know it or not. And so it's important for us as advisors to just have a presence, show face, and kind of show that we're supporting the students, not just with our words, but also with our actions. So whether that looks like having one-on-one meetings with just the president or the main person of the organization or the entire executive board, whatever that looks like. There's an organization that I work with closely that meets pretty regularly with their executive board. I don't go to every single one of their meetings, but I try to pop in at least once a month, just so that they know that I'm there if they need anything. I can help brainstorm any issues that are popping up, encourage them to think outside the box, whatever that might be. And then also, if you know that the students have an event that they're really excited for and you're able to make it, try to at least show face for a couple minutes if possible. So putting in the work and showing your support. I think it's also our responsibility as advisors to create opportunities with ownership for the students. So I think it's really easy with students to micromanage, but take the leap of faith and give them a task that you know that they're excited and passionate about, and trust them to run with it. And make it their own. I think that's going to be a huge part, is that ownership of giving students the capability and the confidence to be able to take something and have it be entirely their own product of their own hard work. The next thing is going to be planning ahead for communication and conflict. So we know it's going to happen, but having those boundaries from the beginning of, this is what's going to happen. These are my expectations of you. Here is what I would hope that you would expect from me, those kind of things, so that those are set from the beginning. So if anything pops up or it's mid-semester, you've already had those conversations and you feel comfortable addressing whatever needs to be addressed with the students. And then the next thing is just pretty self-explanatory, but continue to follow up with the students and follow through. So whether that be you meet monthly maybe, or bi-monthly, whatever the case might be, or weekly or whatever, and just go ahead and set those in the calendar so that you all don't have to say like, oh, we haven't met in 6 months. Whoops. So just go ahead and set your all's relationship and the organization up for success from the get-go.
And our part two of the how is really just being aware of the energy and what it looks like for it to be a good organization. This can be defined in different ways, but making sure that, again, that is established in the forefront will help the students be able to have a vision and know when there's time for improvement or change within their group, which is okay. It's a learning experience, and they will always be able to assess that based off of the members and what's going on. And it's just as important for an advisor to know as well, what are the feelings that all the members are having? Does everyone feel included and heard within the group? And then making sure everyone's committed to those semi-formal, semi-regular one-on-one meetings and general meetings again. As I know Kayla mentioned this already, but those are so crucial. It allows everybody to be on the same page, to know where everyone is, maybe even creating space within these meetings to not just talk about the production of what are these events happening, but how is everyone really doing and communicating with one another. And it allows for proper planning within the times that you meet. Also working to ensure a group is being inclusive, again, of all voices and people. Again, if that's the energy that we want to have within our group, we should be able to recognize and embrace difference. And of course, there's going to be opportunity that I'll talk about later for a group to be able to be included in and look for opportunities on campus to learn more about DEI, to know the different members in their group and how to make sure that they feel like a member, that they feel not are only present, but they are heard and being involved, and that our programs themselves are diverse as well. Another option will be to have Brave Space rules and resources available. So Brave Space rules are something that we use within the Carver Office of Identity and Inclusion, typically within prior to different open dialogues that involve difficult conversations. We kind of set the space, whether that's owning impact and realizing that we can have great intentions, but our impact really makes a difference, that we are being respectful, that we are challenging ourselves to be open to be challenged as well. And so those are some different options that we have in our space. So feel free to reach out if that's something that you would like to utilize for your programming or just within conversations in your group. Also, it's crucial that we also use, we are able to identify resources on campus to point our different leaders to, so that as things come up, they can have those connections and be open to talk and able to bring different staff or faculty or maybe other student groups and to be able to talk on different topics that are their specialties.
Perfect. So as of this point, we are nearing December of 2022, which is crazy to think about. But just to give you an update on upcoming events, there will be quite a few things planned for the spring semester, specifically in that January month, including the involvement fair. But as a reminder, just continue to stay up to date with different trainings and newsletters that our office will be pushing out. And if you ever have any questions, feel free to reach out to myself or to Deja. And we would be more than happy to set up an individual meeting or just get you connected with the right people for whatever problem or obstacle that you might be facing. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Outside of that, thanks for tuning in.